No hookups, no problem. Today we're giving our Lance 1062 truck camper its very first solar upgrade. Brand new Renogy panels on top of the roof and a smart solar charge controller inside. This upgrade means more power when we're off grid and less worry about running out of juice, and the freedom to camp where we want for as long as we want.
Well, I'm starting the installation of solar on our Lance 1062 truck camper, and on the roof there's I guess for lack of a better word, a solar junction box. It's got the positive and negative solar ports up there that have never been used, but there's no wiring where the rest of the wiring is that I can find for it. I belong to a Lance forum online with some really helpful guys there, and they sent photos of theirs, and they actually have a factory, it looks like, solar controller here. So they sent me the dimensions of where that is, and they say if I cut this out, that solar from the roof drops on top of the freezer here. So we're gonna cut a hole in there, and hopefully they're right. We can grab that, and that's step one in a multi-step process to get solar in here, a solar controller, charging our new lithium batteries, and our Bluetti 200L. So far everything's gone pretty well. The hardest part has been finding a route down to get this is the wire from the solar drop on the roof from the MC4 connections. This will go to the solar controller. These two are also solar controller out to the battery. I had to trace the power. Again, that's from the solar charging the house battery. And it terminates actually outside, probably 30 feet of wire, 20 feet of wire anyway, to run to the kill switch, which is an outside compartment where the gray and black water dump is. That's where the 12-volt battery kill is also. But I couldn't run it down the wall here on either side. Let me flip this around. Because there's a wall in here under the fridge, or a floor. I can't get in there to drill. I tried going through the bedroom, through the back, through a vent up there. What I ended up doing was tracing some 110 wires that ran out down the back of the fridge to the exterior access to the fridge. I dropped a bolt on some twine, and I was able to fish it through with a magnet on a stick. So that's probably going to be the hardest part. The next is just figuring out where I'm going to lay out everything. I have the MPPT controller. I'd like to stick it in the step where the other electronics are, but I don't think there's enough ventilation. So I'm going to mount it, I think, outside the step right there, or even right here next to the slide under that one vent. And there's a couple switches I have to put in there too. The first is, apparently you need a switch between the solar panels themselves and the solar controller. And then I have like an AB 1-2 switch here that I'm going to use to switch the output from the solar controller to send it either to the house battery or to my Bluetti AC 200L solar generator. You can decide which one's going to charge. At least that's what I think I'm going to do so far. So here's where the fridge access panel is on the exterior. Here's the twine and nut I dropped from the top of the freezer. Now I have to get this down through the furnace area where I see there's a feed directly to the 12-volt battery system, which is up here. And then I can snake wire down from here, probably have to drill a hole, come into here and go under the fridge, and then I can run it wherever I want. Okay, we have the wires pulled through. Now I'm going to drill a 9/16 hole with a speed bit so I can run the wires from the refrigerator freezer compartment to the furnace. And that'll allow me to pull them through to the under the fridge. This looks like a decent spot. There goes nothing. Now we have to feed this fish line through the hole. Continue pulling. Yeah. So run this under the furnace, under the fridge, which takes us right by the electrical box. Yeah. And this will be probably the hardest part of the whole thing done. I think I did this. Hopefully when we get in here we will see. Let me get some light on here. We will see that piano wire, the cluster of wires we just ran, right. Uh-oh. Yeah. Not sure what we're seeing. Ah, right here. And that is great news, because now we just have to, we're going to run a set around here to the input on the solar controller, which will probably be mounted here. The output will go from here right to the battery terminals you saw in there, instead of running it all the way like a factory did to the 12-volt kill switch outside kitty corner. And that should be it. It shouldn't take much longer to complete this. So it actually turned out to be, so far, we're not done, but it looks like it's going to be a pretty easy project now that we figured out how to run the wire. The next big thing we'll do once this one's done is like we did in our Lance 825, is I want to do the fake shore power thing on this with our Bluetti 2000L. I want to install a 30 amp outlet in here, or cord that I plug right into it with a switch and circuit breaker, so I can switch between shore power and the Bluetti solar generator, making the camper think it's on shore power. And I want to be able to charge that with this MPPT controller, and I'll have a switch for that where I can decide if I'm going to switch it over to charge the Bluetti, or I'm going to switch it over to charge the house lithium. That's another video. Well, how I decided to wire this is, I'm going to come from the solar panels directly to this circuit breaker switch right here. I wire the hot from the solar here so I can shut the solar totally off. From this switch slash breaker, I'm going to go to an A-B switch. A is going to charge, A is going to go to the solar charge controller, which is going to the house lithium batteries. B bypasses the solar charger and goes directly to my Bluetti AC200L, which has its own solar charge controller in it. So the Victron won't manage that, it manages itself. So that's where I'm at now. But one thing that's guaranteed sooner or later to make your life easier is label everything. I'm not that guy, I'm not organized at all, but if I can make time to do this, you probably can too. Here's what I mean. I'm not done labeling, but this is the main from the roof, from the panels, and you can see it's labeled from panel to switch 1 slash controller, which is this. The number 1 side of this will go to the solar controller. The number 2 side is going to the Bluetti. It takes an extra 10 minutes, but you're guaranteed when you hit my age, you'll forget in a week where all this stuff goes. It's worth doing. Well, I'm excited. I got most of the inside of the install done. I've got the Victron solar controller set up. It's powered up. I did a couple updates to it. It sees my lithium house batteries, and it's set up to charge those. There's lithium, and there's settings in the app to tell it that. And I'm hurrying to get this done because in 3 days we're leaving for one of our bigger trips for the year. It's uninhabited island, at least in Michigan. And we've been there before, and it's usually a really neat time. I only have a few days to get everything ready, get things squared up at home before we leave for the trip, and I still have to finish the solar job. So I just finished, for the most part, the inside. Obviously, I got a lot of cleanup to do. But now I got to go on the roof to finish that. Well, yesterday evening after the rain, I decided to clean the roof. I got the car wash soap out, the brush, the hose, and I realized that once these panels are on, they're going to be covering some of these vent windows and skylights, and I wanted to have a clean roof under them, and then I'm going to reseal these with some self-leveler. As soon as this morning dew dries up, I'm going to clean the old sealant with mineral spirits and then alcohol. I'm going to put some more sealant on, and then I'll get these panels down. But right now I'm prepping them. I'm putting the brackets on with the Renogy bracket system I ordered separately from the panels. It came with all the hardware, and I'm going to put a little dab of blue Loctite on each one of these. And then when it comes to mounting them to the frame that I'll have to adjust, not the frame but the rooftop carriers, I think I'm going to use it looks like they're galvanized self-tapping sheet metal screws, and I'll stick them right through the bar. And I'll probably lay these on a bed of sealant or caulk also to help hold it down and also to stop any vibration. don't like the little metal shavings that I get here and there. And so I'm trying my best to vacuum those up. I try my best to vacuum up those metal shavings, because I imagine they'll present a problem on the rubber roof. I'm also going to go by and hit each of these bolt screw heads with some caulk or Sikaflex or lap sealant, whatever I have left when I'm done. Well, I'm almost done wrapping up the roof here. I got to clean up the cables a little bit more, I think. Let me give you a quick view of it. There's the factory solar port. I tied in two Renogy 200 watt for a total of 400 connected in series. And I left the center open, so I still get some sun through the skylight and my main vent window in the hallway there. And I do have room for a third panel should I choose to add another one. Now we got to go inside and finish up the interior electrical and clean. And then we're done. I bet we're done in about 30 minutes. And it's another 90-degree day with super high humidity. Lucky I've been running the air in there. So I can't wait to get in there. How many times I've climbed up this ladder. Alright, day 3 I think it is of this solar install. Hopefully this will be done in the next hour or less. At the juncture where the solar's installed on the roof, we're all done up there. And we have most of the wiring complete in here. We're currently charging using the solar, the house lithium batteries, and the solar's running to this AB or 1-2 switch. It's in the 1 position now, which charges the house batteries. If we move it over to the 2 position, I want it to charge my Bluetti. Can't do both at the same time by the nature of things. This is a circuit breaker switch from the solar to the switch here. So this needs to be on. This is the 1 position charging the house batteries. When it's in the 2 position, it's going to charge the Bluetti. But I didn't want to just run cords through the wall, so I did some research and I found this Anderson 50 connection that I'm going to install probably right here. And then coming out of the Bluetti solar input will be the other end of this plug, so I can just neatly plug it in to the wall when I want to charge the Bluetti. That's the goal for the next 20 minutes. Check back soon. And we have power. Okay, I'm finally done with a solar upgrade project on our Lance 1062. To recap, we installed two 200 watt Renogy solar panels up top. We had already had the factory gland up top to bring the MC4 into the camper. I had to drill a hole to access the factory wiring for the solar here. We brought it down and had to go out the back, or out the side, the back of the refrigerator, to come in over the top of the furnace, which is down there. And it comes into this circuit breaker
This controls all solar on and off. The hot from the solar roof comes here. When this is on, it sends a hot wire to this switch. It's a 1, 2, or AB switch. Number 1, see if you can see this, let me switch it around. Number 1 charges the house battery, which are 2 lithium 100s that I just purchased when I bought this camper a few weeks ago. And so it's charging it now using a Victron charge controller. So it manages all the charging for the house batteries. When we switch this to number 2, we can now send current down to this Anderson 50 plug, which will plug in to my Bluetti solar generator and charge that. So that bypasses the Victron charge controller altogether and goes direct into the Bluetti, which has its own charge controller and own solar input management. It should work well. This is similar to what I did on my last truck camper, the Lance 825. But I just set it up now, and we're going to be testing it through the day and see how it goes. I'll include some clips of the Victron app screenshot to show you what it looks like. But if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. You guys, your comments are very useful. They give me ideas, improvements, and sometimes shortcuts, so I appreciate it. So leave some down below, and please follow, subscribe, and like the video if you did like it, because it does help YouTube send it out. Otherwise, nobody sees it. And I'm sure there's other people that would like to do this, and maybe in some way this will be some help to them, along with the comments you'll leave below, which will only make the video and the whole procedure of doing this even better. So thanks for coming along. I appreciate you. Have a great day. God bless you.